Hello rat bags, it's Jade Plays Games. Welcome to a very special Conan Exiles video. Conan Exiles is about to launch on the 8th of May on Xbox One, PC and the PS4 at last. Here's the lowdown on everything you need to know about Conan Exiles. I will give you information about servers, how many players you can play on servers, different types of servers, what the different ways of playing it will really mean for you, the different types of religions, the races, the combat, what you're going to be expecting in terms of the core game mechanics from Conan Exiles, including the Purge, fully explained as it is right now, as well as a bunch of other stuff, all coming in this special look at Conan Exiles ahead of launch. So come with me across the exiled lands as I take you through everything you need to know about Conan Exiles. From early access in January on PC to the launch on Xbox One in the springtime, Conan Exiles has gone from strength to strength. Initially hyped up to the maximum when it launched, it had a huge amount of players and interest. That did quickly die. There was lots of problems and lots of bugs and issues with it. Even during early access, many people were put off, but it bounced back stronger than ever. Conan Exiles took the route of not just continuing to add content and brushing up at the last minute. They stopped actively putting most of their plans in place and just focused on refining and getting everything polished as much as possible. This has led to a much better balanced game, and I really do feel it's one of the better models for early access. Put as much content as you can, but at a certain point just make sure you've left plenty of time for polishing. Of course, we won't know exactly how much time that has really resulted in a good quality product until it's fully launched, but the continuing updates in the last few weeks have really shown promise that the game has gone on leaps and bounds since it launched last year. So for anyone that doesn't know, Conan Exiles is an open world survival game that incorporates lots of different ways to play. You can play it in PvP where you play against other players as well as the environment, or PVE where it's just you against the environment. You can clan up with other members, you can take on loads of different types of dungeons and bosses and enemies. The game has an extraordinarily big amount of creatures in the game to fight and conquer. You can play Conan Exiles completely offline. You do not have to play it online. It has got a substantial single player and co-op play as well. There is no split screen and there is no cross-play between consoles or Xbox Windows 10. It is purely just as its own. The co-op aspect of it will have a barrier. So when you're playing, you won't be able to go and explore the full map alongside some of your friends. It's a case of having a small dome or tether that keeps you within a certain area. I know this may displease a lot of people, but there aren't that many open world survival games like this that offer that ability to do that. In terms of the settings that you can do, there's a bunch of different things you can have. If you click custom, there's so many options to add and do. I'll be going through a tutorial on these to give you exactly what to do and exactly what they all mean. But in terms of the modes, it's explained pretty adequately. Civilized basic makes everything a bit easier. You won't need to eat or drink as much. You can convert the Thralls quicker, and the Purge won't attack your base. They'll just simply attack you if you're out in the open. Decadent is the normal way to play. The Purge will target and attack your base periodically. The Barbaric really stops you gaining lots of XP over time. You only get XP for doing stuff. But it's worth noting, if you're going to be diving into single player or hosting your own server, what these actual easy quick presets offer. But like I said, you can adjust and change so many different things, and I'll be going through all of this in a separate guide. There's going to be three main types of servers that you'll be able to play on Conan Exiles. During the early access period, they have toyed and mucked around with quite a few different types, but lots of these that you see before you are not going to be the ones that are currently available at launch. So far, confirmed is going to be PvP, PvE and PvE conflict. The PvP servers will be able to attack other players at all times, and what makes Conan Exiles different from other games like Ark Survival Evolved is that there is a limited time where you could do damage to buildings, and that time is going to be 5 PM to 11 PM your local time. So whether you're in America or Europe or Australia, 5 PM to 11 PM time is when your base is at its most perilous. It is a fact that most people play their games in the evening after work or after school, so it makes sense that this is the prime time for raiding other people's bases. Now, some of you may have wanted the ability to raid other bases all the time, but lots of games that do have that, like Ark Survival Evolved, have real problems and issues with saltiness and toxicity. And giving it a short timer, it allows people to build up and have time to do stuff if they do happen to have the time in the mornings or during the day, and then they'll be able to defend themselves adequately in the evening. Still be able to kill each other during the actual world if you find a player come across someone, you'll be able to take them out no problem. But raiding and damaging their buildings will be limited. Now, PVE. Only creatures and NPCs can harm you. Your thralls will not attack other players, so your NPCs that you have gotten and captured and tamed almost, they will not be able to attack other players. And you will not be able to kill and attack other players or their thralls. Pretty simple. Now, the third server type is only actually available on PC to start with at launch, and they may roll it out to Xbox and PS4 depending on how well it goes, and that's PVE conflict. During the window that they deem PvP, 5 PM to 11 PM time, you'll be able to attack other players, but you will not be able to attack their bases ever. So if you're in a situation where you're going harvesting, or if you're going to do a dungeon and you come across other players, they may be able to steal your loot and take stuff from you during that 5 PM to 11 PM window time. But they will not be able to go and destroy any of your bases ever. So as long as you can get back to your base with your loot, you'll be safe. Previously, there were up to 70 players available on some servers, but they found that it was just too unstable and lots of people actually didn't mind having smaller amounts of players. So don't expect to see more than 40 players across any of the servers on Xbox One, PS4 or PC. You will be able to rent your own servers, whether that's PC, Xbox One or PS4. The official providers of Conan Exiles servers, G-Portal, do offer a rentable service, as well as other companies like Nitrado. However, G-Portal have exclusive license for Xbox One servers, as well as the PS4 rentable servers. Now, there's been not that much details about the PS4 rentable servers, as you can currently rent an Xbox One and a PC one right away. As soon as they get any more information about the PS4 servers, I'll do a separate video showing you guys how to rent one out. One thing to note about PvP is they've just announced they're increasing the gathering rates. All PvP servers will have 2 times harvesting and 1 times XP gain and crafting times. PvE will have 1 times everything. This is a significant increase for PvP, which means it will make the enjoyment of the game much better because you can get advanced much quicker and then hopefully go and raid and take down other clans. Of course, some of that may change, but that's how it stands at the moment. If you're a real hardcore PvP player, expect 2 times gathering, 1 time XP gain and crafting times. And if you're a PvE player, you really will have to plan it a little bit better and maybe wait a little bit longer to craft stuff and get the XP for certain things. So that's the server side taken care of and explaining what single player is. But when you actually get into the game, character creation is a really important part, more for your ability to look good and how you want to look your character. Not to mention the religion aspect, which is quite important as well, in terms of making sure you've got the right religion to choose the right avatar to cause damage and destruction. There are over 14 different races for you to choose in Conan Exiles, but they don't affect anything substantial in game. It's all just cosmetics, what they look like, etc, etc. You can interchange hairstyles and you can make your character look almost exactly how you want it to look like. It doesn't really affect anything of what race you are, other than for roleplay purposes, or if you're a true Conan Exiles fan and you want to be a Stygian or Sumerian, etc, etc. What really does affect the gameplay early on is religion. There will be 6 main gods to choose from at launch, rumoured again with more gods to come in DLC or some sort of season pass in the future. But the 6 gods offer different abilities and recipes, and of course they will dictate what type of avatar you'll be using. The avatars are the massive huge creatures you've seen from the trailers that you call forth upon to smite your enemies and your foes, and that is generally what they are there for. Now you can choose Crom, who doesn't have any religious buffs or bonuses, and it gives you a chance to get into the game without choosing any religions to get a feel for it, and then you can go and find one of the thralls or one of the religions out there and become one of its acolytes. But it's usually a good idea to choose one of the other religions first off, just to get a couple bonus recipes from the very beginning and start. It'll also help you unlock some of the blueprints quicker to summon the avatars quicker as well. Now there is defences against the avatars. It's not simply a case of just letting them come along and smash your base to pieces. There is special shields that you can put up against avatars, and obviously on PvP server it's going to be really important that you know everything you need to know. I'll be doing more detailed guides about the avatars and avatar defence in a separate video. Choose the religion that suits your playstyle more, or that just looks really interesting. Now, a crucial aspect of Conan Exiles is the Purge system, particularly for PvE and single player game modes. It's what's going to keep the game very interesting. Originally, the Purge was meant to be a huge sweeping army that would go across the whole server in one instance, attacking various bases as it went. But they had to rescope that and change it a little bit because it was just a bit too ambitious. So the very first stages of the Purge currently are this. It affects single player, PVE and PvP. On official servers between 6 and 10 PM is when the Purge window is open. When you trigger the Purge by looking, and you can see on your character selection, there you go, the Purge meter. Once that's filled up, it offers a chance for the Purge to happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will just happen to you. Instead, it will trigger it and it will hit one of your tribes or clans on the server. So if you're running a private server and there's 2 or 3 tribes or clans, it has a chance of hitting them. Even if you're offline, it will still attack your bases unless you've turned it off in settings. In single player, you can turn off the Purge completely by choosing one of the default beginner modes. You fill the Purge meter by yourself or as part of your clan. Every time you kill something, every time you make some progress or gain XP or attack other players' bases, that is how you fill your Purge meter. Once the Purge meter fills its threshold, it will then set the wave of enemies to attack your base. Also part of the Purge is how close you are to valuable resources. If you've put your base right in the slap bang centre of something that's really valuable and you're really close to the best resources in the game, you will experience much harder purges. Whereas if you're in the easier lands, you're only going to find the easiest creatures attacking you. However, if you're in the north of the land where it's more challenging and you've quite advanced, expect to see the big choice of NPC and mobs attacking your base. The Purge is a bit complicated, and with them adding more and more changes up towards launch, I'm going to be going through it in a separate detailed video. Because there is so much still yet being finalised for launch, and because it is only the first stage, expect many videos talking about the Purge, the changes and what works and what doesn't work. But the general census is this, that you should now really think about building your bases up, whether it's PvE or single player. You need to think of ways to stop people being able to climb your base, and think of ingenious ways to stop mobs from attacking or doing too much damage to your base. So to defend against the Purge, you are going to be able to get hold of Thralls. Your Thralls are your NPCs, but they're not simply just a case of finding one and admitting him to your clan. You have to break them in on the Wheel of Pain. This can be really involved and can take a considerable amount of time depending on what type of server you're playing on. Thralls are scattered throughout the world and some have huge benefits towards your clans. Some will allow certain recipes to be unlocked, some will allow you to craft advanced weapons and armours, and some are needed to summon the avatars in Conan Exiles. So Thralls plays a huge part in the game. You're going to need to unlock the Wheel of Pain very rapidly and you're going to need to learn how to use them. Now, I've already done a few guides on Thralls, but I will be updating them very soon. But for now, check out the ones that you see at the end of the video for more information about the Thralls. But pretty much, they're all different types for all different races, and they all unlock different things at certain levels. You will get to the point where you will be selecting which Thralls are worth trying to tame and which ones will complete your set, a little bit like Pokemon. But they're not just there to craft weapons and unlock certain things either, they're there to help you defend and attack other players and creatures in the game. You can equip your Thralls with different weapons and different items, and this is a fairly recent new addition in the last few months. The Thrall system has undergone massive changes since its launch in early access, and it still is undergoing massive changes. In the future, they plan to implement a settlement system properly where you can actually set your Thralls different zones to patrol. They will have different job roles in your village or your town or your city, and that is definitely something I'm really looking forward to and was the most intriguing aspect of Conan Exiles for me when I started looking more into the game. Now this is quite advanced and it's going to be quite a way before it comes fully into the game, but equipping your Thralls with different weapons and armours is the first step. So if you're playing PvE or single player, the Thrall system is really unique and really important. And likewise, even in PvP, if you really want to succeed in being top alphas, you will need to make sure you've got the best weapons and items. They can of course defend your bases as well against the Purge system, so that's another reason why you're going to need lots and lots of Thralls. Conan Exiles contains a lot of dungeons for you to go and explore as well, and this is why you're going to need a lot of your NPC Thralls to come along with you and defeat the monsters and the mini bosses that you'll find. There's quite a few and they're quite varied and it really adds to the game. I'm hoping they're going to keep on adding more, and obviously with more expansions and more DLC I'm sure we're going to see a lot more dungeons. Some of them can be quite complex, some of them have puzzle elements, and obviously they always have some sort of mini boss or a ramped up version of a creature that you find out in the exiled lands. As you can see from the map in Conan Exiles, it is pretty expansive. What started out as just a desert area got expanded with the brand new snowy biome, and for launch you can see there's a volcano and there's the jungle areas being added to the game too. Currently at the moment the jungle system is locked off and all you can do is spawn into a very unfinished state. It's really good that launch day is going to be a bunch of brand new stuff for people to go and explore and see in the game, and I can't wait to go and explore the jungle systems as well as the volcanoes. Each biome of Conan Exiles offers a brand new selection of creatures to go and take on. From the sheer size of the map, there is much more to come in Conan Exiles in terms of what they're going to be adding in either DLC or free content. Expect another biome to be added in the northeast section, and I do believe they're going to be refining some parts of the map as well and opening it up a little bit more, adding more points of interest. In terms of the future, they do want to add a mount system, and that is something they're going to be working on after release, and the fact that you'll be able to hopefully have small pets. While the taming system is not going to be as robust as Ark Survival Evolved, they are looking into having pets available for you to keep. There are baby creatures in the game already, and this is going to be generally what it's going to be like when you actually have a pet. It may be a smaller version or baby version for a while. But don't get too excited, you're not going to be running around on dragons or huge massive gorillas. It's more traditional things like camels and horses to get you across the Exile lands quicker. The combat system has been recently revamped. They've added a bunch of new abilities and attacks with it. The animations are much more crisp, and you can actually strafe and lock onto baddies and enemies a lot easier. With such a big huge selection of weapons and armour available, it's really important that combat was looked at, and the Funcom devs have come through. Combat is much more interesting and fun than it used to be when it was during the early access period. And while there's definitely some refinements still to go, it's good to see that nearly every single weapon set has its own animations. Combat is affected by your stamina though, so making sure you've got enough stamina is really important. And going against certain enemies and NPCs that aren't above your level is really important too. Attacking a village or a town like this is really dangerous, so make sure you're fully prepared at launch. Combat will undergo more various improvements, I'm sure, during the full release of the game. But for now, it's in the best state it's been since early access started. There are so many different types of engrams or blueprints for you to unlock, and there's so many different types of building pieces. Not only is there proper building different types which will give you different protection, there is a lot of decorative stuff as well. So you really can lend itself to roleplay in this game. I can't wait to see the creations you guys are going to be coming up with in terms of base design or just epic builds. So let me know, show me your screenshots and join my Discord. We've got a special Conan Exiles channel. Put your screenshots in there and I will come and check out some of your base builds. The last few crucial things you might need to know are obviously that all the servers are going to be wiped. If you've been an early access player through Conan Exiles, all the servers will be brand new and fresh. The game will launch at 1 PM Central Eastern European Time, 7 AM Eastern DT Time, and 4 AM Pacific Time on the 8th of May. There's going to be over 225 official servers at launch. So obviously expect, with the popularity of Conan Exiles, maybe to find a bit of a tough time getting through to some of the official servers early on. That would probably be the perfect time to jump into single player and see what it's like and try a little few things out with the admin commands. Expect that sort of stuff over the next few days from me. I'm going to be ramping up Conan Exiles content all week long, and I'm looking forward to starting my own full tribe on official servers. I will be looking into renting my own actual server, but for now I am going to be just going into an official server. We'll be playing with rat bags on PS4 and the Xbox One, so if you want to join, come and check out our Discord and come and talk to us. I am Jade Plays Games. I hope this Conan Exiles What to Expect videos give you an insight if you hadn't seen much of the game before, or maybe it's give you some information you didn't know, or it's just getting you hyped because you already have been playing the game and you can't wait for the full release with a full update. Conan Exiles did what most developers should really be doing through development. They reached a point with brand new content and decided to just scale back and polish what they had. They toned down anything they overpromised a little bit and really just reaffirmed what they could deliver and try and deliver it well. So let's hope it really fulfills its potential and promise. I'll be giving a proper full review in a week or so once I've played it completely. I am Jade Plays Games. Make sure you hit that like button for all the early access news, for all the information about survival games. Make sure you've got notifications turned on, and I'll see you ratbags in the Exiled Lands.